Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Kemi, and I'm here to talk about Beyond the Gates Season 2, Episode 75. All right, so we start the episode off with Tomas. He runs into Martin at Uptowns. Martin is there to get dinner for he and Nicole because he's getting ready to meet Nicole for dinner. And Tomas is there because he has a surprise planned for Kat. And of course, Martin take some digs at Kat and how she wants Tomas to celebrate the week. Celebrate the whole month for her or something like that. Just stuff that clearly Martin doesn't like his sister. But anyway, so yeah, so they run into each other. Martin thanks him for the invite, and then they discuss Ted and Nicole and how Tomas is just like, it just like things seemed a little, close with them or whatever. And Martin is telling him, don't read into it. They were all just happy about Anita. Then they talk about Kat, Kat staying with Anita and Vernon. And Martin is just like, oh, it makes her feel useful. And I was just like, ugh. And it's not lost on me that ever since Kat has moved in with Anita and Vernon, Martin has been over there more than normal. And we see him with them more than we see Kat with them. And yeah, I just need them to say that Martin was jealous of Kat when she came along, and he's always wanted to be the only child, and that's why he'd be acting the way he acts with her or whatever. But whatever. So Tomas talks about how his grand had fought the same thing, not the same, um, not the same thing, but she had some type of illness or whatever, and she fought to come back to them or whatever. So they discuss how strong their grands are, and Martin not thinking that Tomas would still be around because none of the other guys before hung around. And Tomas says he would do anything he can to celebrate more Cat days. And I was just like, ugh, why? So we see Kat and Nicole. They run into Ted at the coffee shop. They went shopping for Kat's date that she's about to have tonight. He wants to hear about the plans, and he asks them to join them. But Nicole has plans with Martin, so she leaves. Um, So Kat notices what's his name? Ted staring at Nicole, and so she asked him, she says, she's glad that they made peace, and they came to her party or whatever. And he's just like, he's glad too that she invited Eva to stay. And Kat tells him, don't read into it. That was, that was just a one-time thing. No, she tells him, don't have hope. I was happy about Anita, and nothing and no one could bother me. Even if Leslie was there, I would have invited her too. They talk about Chelsea Cat and how excited she is about it. He asks about Anita, and he wants to know when she's gonna move out. No, he wants to know why she's still living with Anita, and he mentions her living in the house, living in the apartment behind their Ted and Nicole's house, then moving in with Chelsea, and then now moving in with Anita and Vernon. And he says, it seems like you don't want to be alone. Um, she tells him it isn't about it's not about moving in with Tomas. They're not ready, and he wants to know who is less ready. And she tells him, they love each other, and they want to see where the future goes, but the future isn't now, and so they're good with where they're at or whatever. So she wants to know. She switches it on him, and she wants to know, why are you still living in the hotel? And she wants to know if he's waiting to see how things will shake with Shanice, not Leslie. Ooh, child. With Shanice, Ted wants to change the subject, and Kat wants to know why he didn't bring Shanice with him to the party. And Ted says, "Oh, she was away at a PT conference or whatever." So Kat asks, "Is she your girlfriend?" And he says, "Not yet. and they aren't into labels, and they're enjoying each other's company. And Kat, she's here for it. She says, the next time, she's here for it, and he says, the next time I commit is going to be forever. It'll last forever. So we see Hayley, she's at home and she's doing some home shopping, talking about, ooh, a Bugatti, ooh, a Ferrari, ooh, just looking, shopping for some, for cars or whatever. So she hears Bill come in and she, goes back to being mad because, the last episode she went off on him for calling Danny Bill. I mean, for calling Danny baby. So he comes in with flowers and she's just like, I hope you don't think this is gonna make up for it or whatever. And she's still doing her little, victim act or whatever. He apologizes. She continues to make him feel bad about calling Danny baby. He explains what happened and it didn't mean anything. She won't let up on him. She is uh yeah, she won't let up on him, and he's just like, so you're gonna let that one little thing ruin what you got? You're gonna let something that means nothing ruin everything that we built. And so she takes the flowers. She says she loves the flowers, and he tries to hug her, but she's just like, that was just the opening. He wants to know what he can do, to close or whatever. And no, she says that was just the opening. I can't wait to see how you close. And he was just like, I need time to prepare. So she goes to change into something sexy. Bill's accountant calls and tells him that one of the accounts is empty. So Bill, not Bill, but Hayley comes back in. She got on some lingerie or whatever, and Bill gives her a box, and she opens the box, and it's just some flower petals. And she was just like, "What's this?" And he tosses them up, and he's just like, "This is what we're gonna put in the bedroom or whatever." And she's real disappointed because she wanted some jewelry, she wanted something monetary, and he's just giving her flowers, and she's just like, but she's trying to play it off that she's not disappointed, but she really is. So then, she she plays the victim act or whatever, and he asks her about the account, and he wants to know why she closed the account without telling him. So she makes up a story about them wanting to oh, she makes up a story and he wants to know where the money is. So she tells him, and I wrote my notes, Bill is stupid. So she tells him that um oh yeah, he tells her that the amount that was taken was the same amount for the penthouse, and she says she wanted to buy an investment property, and she thought that was a good idea, but he said no, and she woke up from being manipulated by Lynette, and Lynette is gone. Then she says she was going to put the money back into the joint account since sorry, let me take that back. Because I'm getting confused with the story she's telling because like I said, Bill is stupid because you weren't listening. So initially she tells him, she wanted to buy an investment property. He told her he said no to that. So she then turns around and says she didn't want them to keep looking at that account since they decided to not have kids. And she felt like that account was a reminder of the fact that they aren't going to have kids because he started that account for their future child or whatever. So she says she was going to put the money in the joint account. Because Bill was just like, I hope you didn't give that money to Lynette. And she was just like, no, I was gonna put it in the joint account. Um, she didn't know she could transfer, so she just got a check sent to her. So she plays the victim again, and he of course falls for it. So she wants to go back to making up with him. So I hope Bill is keeping track of this because whatever I don't even think that the money that was put in that account was the 100,000. Was it 100,000? Because I know she's trying to off him so that she can get 100 million from him, from his being gone or whatever. But I think they wanted to start they wanted to start the account for their future child's college fund. So he had put 100,000 in there, I think, and it was gonna grow over time. I think, I don't know, but she took that money out and she's getting a check sent to her. So I hope that Bill remembers this and he keeps asking her, did the check come in so we can put it in the joint account? Because if he forgets about this, that's where's the money? Like, I need to know where you gonna put, how are you going to um how are you gonna finesse this? This is what I need to know, how she's gonna try to finesse this big lump sum money when she's saying she's trying to put it back into the joint account. I want to know. So we see Martin, he is with Nicole, and they're doing they have their dinner or whatever, and then he tells her that he might run for Senate, and she's pissed because she's just like, what are you thinking? He tells her, she tells him all the reasons why he shouldn't, and he said Vernon is with him, and Nicole says they both lost their minds. They talk about who all knows their secrets, Bill and Joey, and Joey is a wild card. Um, she asks, what does Smitty think about it? He tells her he hasn't told her yet. She tells him he needs to tell Smitty sooner rather than later. And she wants him to start back up with the therapy. But he's just like, he's too busy. And she tells him why he needs to get back to them. He understands and he leaves. So we see, let's see. We see, let's go here. We see Kat, she meets Tomas at Uptown, and he has set up a salsa date for them. So they're at Uptown, they have a dance floor. He brought in a DJ. The manager at Uptown thought this was a good thing, a good idea, but he had to bring the DJ. So he brought the DJ. They salsa dance, they, do their little thing or whatever. She what else happens? Sorry. Um yeah, so yeah, so he gives her another gift, which is a miniature, it's a door of his front, his house in Puerto Rico. So he wants to he's inviting her to go to Puerto Rico now instead of in Christmas, and she's initially reluctant to it because of course she doesn't like this man, and he's just like telling her, oh, my abueleta, my tios, my tias, my mom, my dad, my friends, my distant cousin, my cousin on my mom's side, my cousin on my dad's side, my friend from kindergarten. Like, he's mentioning all these people that he can't wait for Kat to meet. And she's just like, like she's scared or whatever. And she's just like, this is a first for me. And he's just like, what is? And she'll just like, meeting the parents. Like, I've never met any of my boyfriend's parents because it's never gotten this far or whatever. So he's just like, he eases her fears or whatever. And then he says something. I think this is when he mentions all the people that he can't wait for her to meet, and her face goes like, and she's just like, and then she plays it off, and she's just like, I'm just thinking of all the outfits that I need to pack, and da 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 da. So he's excited that she's saying yes to go with him. So they hug and kiss or whatever. So we see Grayson and Ashley. They're at the hospital. She wants to cook for him. He says he has to work late, but if he can make it, then if he can, whatever, if he can, he'll try or something like that. So he comes back and he's just like, boom, I can, I'm pull some strings. I have a light day. So yes, I can come to dinner or whatever. So she wants to know what his favorite meal is. He doesn't have one. And then she like talks it out of him, and he says spaghetti and meatballs or whatever. So we see Shawnee. She shows up. She's back early from her PT conference, and Grayson left so that they could talk. So she Ashley fills her in on all the gossip that's been going on, what happened with Nicole, how Leah has been, talking to her about certain things and how it's weird. Um, yeah, how Leah's been on her case or whatever. So we then see another scene of Shanice giving her recipes for the food that she's gonna cook for Ted or whatever. So Ted gets off the elevator, they see each other, and then they smile. So we see Shanice and Ted, they are in the in his office talking. I can't remember what about, but they were talking about something. Nicole, like they hear a knock at the door. Nicole walks in and she tells him, I just put out a Martin fire, and you need to tag in. She sees Shanice and she didn't realize he was there. Ted says he can call Nicole tomorrow unless he needs to talk to Martin now. And Nicole was just like, no, you can, she'll call him if she needs backup, and she leaves. And it's just like, girl, you was just telling your sister yesterday that Ted wasn't Ted took a back seat to them, and now that you something's going on with Martin, you are still giving him an out when you should have said, yes, you need to call him now. Like, the possibilities of what I could possibly be talking about. So yes, you need to call him now. And Ted, you also, the fact that you rushed to say, oh, I'll call him tomorrow. Your ex-wife just told you that she put out a Martin fire. What do you mean you'll call him tomorrow? I'm gonna need you to start dialing. Call that man now so you can figure out what's going on. Like, he has no, like, it feels like, I don't know when this change. I don't even, because I can't say I don't know when this changed, because it's just like, has he always been this character where it's like they have to push him to do something? They have to they have to do everything for him just for him to do it. Like, has that always been his character? I don't know, but it's annoying because it's just like, it's just annoying because it's just annoying. It really is. So Nicole leaves, and Shanice, because Shanice was in there when they were talking or whatever, and she tells him, I thought about it, and I like where we're at, and I'm all in. We don't have to put labels on it, but I'm good with where we're at. So they agree, and then they go back to the hotel room. So we then see Grayson, he comes back. Oh yeah, this is when Grayson comes back and tells Ashley that he can actually make it to dinner or whatever. So she leaves to go get ready. We see Grayson, he's on the phone with his mom, and he's telling his mom about Ashley or whatever. And once he gets off the phone, we see Ren come in, and then he pew pew, like not pew pew, but he stabs him, for a lack of better words. So he stabs him, and we see Grayson falling. So that was the episode. Make sure you guys are liking, subscribing, and turning on your post notifications. Get down in the comments. Tell me what you guys thought of this episode, and I will see you guys in the next one.